I'm going to go ahead and hit start on the recording, and we are going to kick off this meeting of the Champaign Blockchain Meetup. It is Friday, October 15th, and today we are meeting with Adam Dean and Kyle Solomon of the jetchickens project. So Adam and Kyle are both long-time operators in the Cardano blockchain. They've both been running stake pools since they were in testnet. Kyle has the Adafrog stake pool. Adam has the Buffy stake pool. And then you guys have both, I think, moved into the token building area once that became available. I know I saw you guys doing space coins, which is a fun little project, just a little meme coin that you guys have been giving out to people for free. And then you incorporated it into this game that you guys have been developing called jetchickens. And jetchickens also has an NFT component. So wanted to introduce you guys to our organization here. I told you guys a little bit before we started. This is we are the Champaign Blockchain Meetup Group. We are sponsored by the University of Illinois Research Park, and we thank them for our sponsorship. A lot of times we will have meetings on site at the research park, but we also try to bring in people from outside and have a global perspective of what's going on. So we have the best of both worlds. Last month, we had a look at what's going on with campus with the Disruption Lab at the Geese College of Business and some awesome student projects they're working on with doing a fork of Ethereum and trying out some cool experimentation. And so now this time we're hoping that you guys can sort of bring some knowledge to us. So I'll turn it over to you guys and shut up and stop talking.
Thanks, we appreciate it. It's not so much as what Adam and I do is we showed up early and we engage at a level to where we can see problems and we can identify problems and identify gaps. And we're on a mission, and as the Cardano community, and we're building towards something that's bigger than all of us. And it makes sense to guide as we kind of do that. But as you're riding the train, you guys can do shit too. I mean, space coins, we did space coins because we didn't have decimals. If we had decimals, we would have been dropping some other fungible tokens or doing something like that. But we didn't have decimals, and it would have confused the shit out of everybody because the wallets wouldn't support decimals. And if I had sent you a space coin, you would have thought you had 1 million space coins. And then you know what I'm saying? It was wild. So that was part of why we got those out there, and we wanted to push those in the right direction with the community, because it was a way for people to learn about native assets without being confused. Because every step of the way, when there's new stuff, there's always opportunity for bad people to show up and take advantage as well. So I think we minted space coins on March 2nd, right? It was in the wee hours. It was right after I think it was between midnight and 1 or something. It was early, and we got them out there, and then we spent the next week giving them to everybody. And then people we were giving them to spent their whole week giving them to everybody. And it was indicative of a larger problem in the ecosystem, and that's people want something to do. And that's still true today, and that's why NFTs are real popular today. I think personally, we're still bored with we want our blockchain to do something, and then Adam's always risen to the damn challenge. Anytime something's come up, Adam's made it better or stronger or pieced something together or had the foresight to know what was coming. And I would say double-digit percentage of all NFT drops on Cardano, Adam's had a hand in some way, shape, or form. I approached him, with JetChicken partnership just because I knew he's already working on a lot of different pieces. And as he was kind of perfecting those pieces, working on a lot of drops, he kind of would put together the things we needed for that. And jetchickens, really, it's a fun project for us. We're having fun with it. We're not taking it too seriously. We're not conducting 4 or 5 meetings a week on what the fuck we're going to do with jetchicken and all that stuff. And it's more of we want to test to see what's possible and play around. I mean, that's all we're doing, is we're having fun. That's how I see that project. It's ridiculous. I don't know if you guys have seen the cards. It's not meant to be taken seriously, but it provides an environment for us to really test out these types of incentive transactions in game and things like that. The things that are going to make Cardano popular. But Adam and I are working on so many different projects. It's hard to keep up a lot of times. You've probably got your hands in what, 6-7 different initiatives, Adam, that are like serious big initiatives, and then 40 like helping other people with their bullshit.
Are you talking per week or in general? So yeah, absolutely.
Sustained.
Yeah, there's probably, at least 10 large ongoing projects that I'm involved with that are either fungible, non-fungible, or otherwise leveraging things like on-chain metadata. But like Kyle said, Jet Chicken was fun. It was this crazy idea we came up with, just talking, having an idea, and really testing everything that was possible. So we were combining on the fly image generation and pinning to IPFS, and then posting that to the blockchain. And then a combination of fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens under various minting policies in singular transactions. How many cards can we send in a single transaction? And a lot of these other things that are more meant to push the boundaries than to really, like Kyle said, be taken seriously. We're not aiming to be the kings of the blockchain and the highest volume traded project ever. It's more about like, how do we make an actual use case rather than just a speculative investment?
Well, there's a lot of things too I wanted to do with it. Like one thing we did that was really unique, which kind of, I know for a fact it hurt sales, is that we extended the policy to the end of the year. The policy is still open. You guys can still get Jet Chickens now. I think we've minted just over 10,000 Jet Chicken NFTs under the policy. But
20,
what we wanted to do is provide enough rarity combinations to handle a volume spike. But before the policy closes, we're going to introduce a burner where you guys can burn 3 of the chickens, and it's going to give you one that's more powerful. And we've got more art coming. It's all going to come under the same policy, and we're going to release it with probably about a month and a half, maybe a month to go in the policy. So we're going to create a frenzy of people burning chickens and whatnot, and then we'll pop a game after. So it's a huge experiment for an NFT project that's still ongoing. So it hasn't played out yet, and that's what's really interesting about that too. So I don't know if we'll have less chickens or more. I think we're going to have less, but I don't know if it's going to induce this. We'll probably see a spike in sales, but we're going to see a whole lot of stuff burn too, because we're going to incentivize the hell out of burning your own NFTs. And then at some point that's going to close.
So if we can sort of get our footing for people who haven't been exposed to the ecosystem as much. So you guys started in March with minting the Space Coins fungible tokens, which is one of the items that are used in the game. How does the Cardano blockchain handle the minting of these fungible tokens that are that can be traded alongside the native token of ADA on the blockchain?
Yeah, so there, we have the EUTXO model. So none of our tokens are wrapped in smart contracts. So when I send you 100 space coins, for example, it lives in your wallet right alongside with some amount of Lovelace, the base denomination for Cardano, and you can send it right to another wallet. You can send it to, say our Jet Chicken chicken fryer or whatever to kind of pay for an interaction in the game. So when it comes to all Cardano specific NFTs or fungible tokens at this point, they're all native assets rather than simply smart contracts with a pointer to metadata. We actually use the on-chain minting of that token is what determines what the metadata attached to that token is.
It's a simple mint parameter in a transaction. So to make a token, it's a simple transaction. It's very easy. You can do it from the command line. So 50 million space coins were minted with what, 0.2 ADA or whatever. And then you need to have enough ADA to send with space coins. It's a little less now. It was 1.48 ADA at the time needed to accompany any amount of space coins as the min UTXO. And that's true with any token, not the exact finite amount, but you need to send ADA along with any native asset, and that's a spam prevention. And what that model indicated, and we called this real early, Adam, is it was going to open the door for token withdrawals, user initiated manual token withdrawals. The user is going to cover the withdrawal fee, the min UTXO ADA. So for Jet Chicken, we charge 20 ADA a pack. We profit 15 ADA, but we send back 5 ADA with the 10 fungible tokens, the 2 NFT cards, and the 100 free space coins. And that 5 ADA, a good amount of that serves as the min UTXO ADA that needs to sit with the actual native assets. So there's some economics that need to go in, tokenomics, if you guys are looking at doing token projects. Yeah. But the key that I want to get across is pay attention, guys. There's opportunity everywhere. Adam and I came and we started running stake pools out the gate, and we just got involved and started helping each other. And then we made friends, and now all of a sudden these friends are really smart people, they turn out, and then we're building teams, and now we're building shit. And now everybody's making money, and it's crazy. And so I would say get involved. And the biggest thing we've got is Catalyst. We got $1 billion in the treasury. Anybody can go get it. Anybody can go get it. So if you guys see an opportunity, don't be afraid to dream big. Don't listen to what anybody says otherwise. If they're telling you that you're going down the wrong path, you're doing it wrong, just do it. Get involved. And that's all I can say about it. This whole journey it's wild what's coming. I mean, I wish I could tell you what we're working on now. It's so insane. But it's fun, and I'm blessed to be working with such talent, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. So, but Space Coins is cool. We're getting consumption with it. A lot of projects are going to be integrating it and doing things there. So it's kind of neat that we created, somewhat equivalent of a Doge of Cardano. It really has been adopted at that level. How many wallets do we have? Do we even know how many unique wallets hold Space Coins?
I haven't run it recently. It was over. I know we set up the Space Coins faucet in late March, and I think we've given out did that first token withdrawal sort of model from the Space Coins faucet. I think we're close to, if not over 1,000 wallets that have participated in that. And that's not counting the ones that we manually distributed to throughout the month of March. So
yeah, no, I know it's like 5 or 10,000. It's between 5 and 10,000. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's the other really cool thing. Like we made Space Coins as a joke / educational tool, like Kyle said, to send them out to people to teach them, hey, here's how you interact with these native assets on Cardano. Because for years we had it's just a wallet. It's just passing Lovelace back and forth. And now all of a sudden there's this new thing. And so we wanted to create a mechanism where people could safely kind of get involved and get comfortable with transacting with native assets. And we did that, and the community went crazy for it. We did a logo design contest on Twitter and had like 200 plus submissions from the community.
Wow. And 200 people make logos for Space Coins. It was unbelievable.
Right, for a joke coin that we just did in the middle of the night one night. So yeah, and it's kind of wild to be party to that and a piece of that kind of history. Without ever intending to, that wasn't the goal. We weren't aiming to make it something huge, but now it looks like that ball's rolling with or without us, and we'll see where it goes.
So how is the minting policy for Space Coins handled now, and who holds the keys, and where do they come from, and where do they go?
Adam and I both hold the keys. We both hold them. So that decision was made a while ago. There should be 2 of us that hold them. When it got to a certain point, once we realized that Space Coins was bigger than any one of us. So him and I can mint them if we want, but we have gone back to the drawing table, and we are going to do some funky stuff with Space Coins. We are actually, the supply now, I believe, is about 51.5 million. That 0.5 million is being minted with Jet Chicken packs that are being sold. Every pack of Jet Chickens has 100 Space Coins that's being minted on the fly with them. And so we looked at it, and we got something really, really big coming that's going to serve the ecosystem. It's a totally separate initiative, but it's all going to tie a lot of shit in together. But with space coins, we are going to launch space coins pools. We've already launched them. Stake pools your and did it. Over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to inflate the space coin supply to 200 million. And we're just going to give them to people who are staking to the stake pools. It's a 25% fee pool, though. Both of them are. So Adam and I are more or less going to direct revenue, and that revenue is going to go directly to Adam and I. We're going to split it 50-50, and it's going to help us fund our development efforts so we can build our own teams out more robustly and create like these pseudo decentralized teams. Because the way we're operating now, 3 or 4 projects are sharing really good smart contract developers. We're sharing good different backend developers. We're finding our niche, and we've got to be able to fund this moving forward. And so that's kind of one thing we're doing there on that front. Stakers to these pools are going to get multiple tokens. That's all I can disclose at this time. It's going to be very attractive value proposition that we're going to architect. And so that's the tokenomics. But essentially the way it's going to work is the first epoch, we're going to give out 200,000 space coins to delegators of the pool. And the second epoch, we'll decrement it by 1,000, and we'll do that for a year. And the next year, the decrement's a little bit smaller, but we're gonna, I think we budgeted what, 100 million space coins for this initiative for stakers of the pool. So we're gonna, we want to give the community an opportunity to participate in that regard. And then we've got the rest of the budget. Adam and I get a chunk, because by doing this, we actually deflate our holdings. So we get a big chunk, or not a big chunk, but a nice chunk. And then we're going to do, I think we've got 25 million we're going to put aside for a Space Coins Foundation. And out of the treasury rewards that we give out, we're going to take 20% of that and put it into a treasury. So we're going to start to build an ecosystem, and we're building partnerships with people to put space coins in games, and people are doing it for consumptions. But this is not like, oh, this is the next big project. Like, if you want to compare this to something, we don't promise anything, but we do build stuff, and that's based on our track record. Like, you saw the Space Coins white paper. I don't know if you guys have seen the white paper. That's it. That's what it is. It's a one pager. This is not a security. We're having fun. If you want to own it, that's cool. We're not selling it. And but legal they really like the white paper. So we'll probably get a legal opinion that it's okay to get listed on a centralized exchange, just because the white paper clearly says that we're not building it. There's no
promise of future value.
Yeah. But it's being adopted by other people. They're like, people who don't know what to do with their app. They're like, I'll just take space coins, or I'll just do this. And that's starting to come to fruition. So for that to happen, to be a part of something so historical in Cardano, I don't think it's really hit me yet, Adam, what we did. I mean, that whole, the first withdrawal faucet implementation, that everybody's going to copy that model to some degree. I mean, it's just inevitable. And so, I don't know. It's exciting. We're excited. So the stake pools are and did it.
All right. So we can use these for the game. So then tell us about the minting of the NFTs. When you make the NFTs, what's that kind of process like? I guess how did you come up with the idea for jet chickens, and how did you come up with the art and then putting it together and then what's the technical process for minting the NFTs as unique objects?
Yeah, so I can speak to that. The art, we contracted artists. I think we started with 6 or 7 artists, and we said, hey, we want a crazy space chicken. And we got a bunch of mock-ups and designs back, found a couple that we really like. And so we've kind of stuck with them, and they're kind of part of the Jet Chicken family at this point. But realistically, so what we did, we saw these, generative 10K PFP NFT projects going on, or the avatar projects. But like Kyle said, we wanted to kind of break that mold. So while there are things like rarities, if you will, that's more about creating a spread for the statistics that are on the cards. So what we do is we had, I think, a set of 122 fungible, think of them like field cards, if you're familiar with Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering or any other sort of like collectible trading card game. These would be like your mana and stuff like that don't really have a whole lot of value, but you need them to play the game. And so we said, we don't want to create a whole bunch of chain bloat by creating unique tokens for these. So let's make them fungible tokens. So we made those kind of base playing cards fungibles. But we wanted the chickens always to be globally unique. And so we're actually, every time somebody buys, we're rolling a set of stats for that chicken, checking that it's globally unique. And we're over 20,000 globally unique chickens at this point. And then creating the art on the fly using a script that Kyle created that will select a background. It selects a chicken, then puts it onto our card template, and then fills in what the stats are for that particular chicken. So we're at 20,000 and counting. I think I did the math, and we have a few million possible combinations out there. So we're nowhere near kind of max supply at this point. It's just a matter of how many people are interested in getting. But the goal was always not to be this little exclusive 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 club. And then from there, that's our playing base. The goal was to really see if we could create something that works on a massive scale and is accessible to everybody, or at least to a large portion of the population.
Yeah, and one of the cool things we're going to do with this burner, this initial one, and I don't know how this is going to translate into longer term business models, but I want to experiment with in-game transactions and pre-game transactions and post-game transactions. And so we've got a whole new series of art coming under the same policy. I think I've got 14 chickens done now. I got to go back and count, but I think I want to push to see if we can get 20. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to do like a hybrid combinator. You send 3 chickens in, we're going to give you hybrids, hybrid stronger ones, things like that. So you'll be able to mate, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a whole kind of burn chickens, but be able to get something cool. And, Rastas are really hard to get and zombies are really hard to get, but Rasta zombies are going to be the tits. You know what I'm saying? So there's some things in there that, we're going to do that you may never discover some of the chickens that happen, or somebody may get one of all, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to do some pretty cool shit, and we'll set it up so people can level their cards up in a way. And the way we're going to tie space coins consumption into that is you'll be able to send a discrete amount of space coins, and based on what you send, you'll be able to lock attributes from the 3 chickens you send in to burn, things like that. Oh, Adam, I had an idea the other day. I ran it by Patrick on Space Place when he came in, but he didn't seem to think. But I'm thinking, okay, progression, right? Adaptive NFTs. If you burn the original NFT, I think you lose value there, right? So what if we were to do like this concept of a save token, right? Where you basically mimic, you replicate your NFT, you've got your original meta, you've got your current meta, it's all parallel in the same one. And then you could use that to start over, like on just a dynamic game. You see what I'm saying? So, but you only pay the transaction fee at the end because it burns your old save one, right? Remints a new one and then sends it back to you with the min UTXO ADA. So you're only paying like maybe 0.3 or something like that. I'm just going off the top of my head. But I don't know if that's viable or not. Wouldn't that be cool? Like think about back in the day, like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Hell yeah, I'd buy a save token where I could go right to Mike Tyson and get knocked the fuck out,
Yeah, that it's so wild. And like, that's the whole reason that I got into it is I've always loved to push the boundaries and be on that cutting edge. So, I personally published the first metadata to the Cardano blockchain. The first 13 or 14 actually entries in the metadata, transactional metadata on Cardano are me playing around to see what was possible and what would get accepted or rejected. And then I created an on-chain voting mechanism using that metadata. And then these native assets came along, and we can embed metadata with native assets and then track that metadata for native assets. So it's always been about pushing the boundaries and seeing what's possible. For me, art NFTs are hot right now, but they're just the tip of the iceberg that we're going to really unlock with what's possible with this digital provenance of both real and digital assets going forward, and in the metaverse and the real real world, you know, when there's a token that represents that you own a car or a house or anything else, and we get away, we could go paperless. You know, you don't need that title in a lockbox somewhere, and if there's a fire, you're screwed. There's just so much potential here that you know, making silly chicken tokens is really just playing with what's possible to really unlock the true future utility of this new asset class.
That's exactly what it is. We're think of it as all we are is we're training on our jungle gym. That's all we're doing. We're having fun. The technology's coming together. We're preparing to build and deploy technologies of tomorrow. You know, that's really what we're doing. We're amassing teams to do this, and it's really cool. And that's why I say get involved. Start getting involved in Catalyst, start working with people, start meeting with people. You'll find common goals. You'll start building and moving stuff together. And then once you do that, it's really cool what can happen. You know, it's Adam and I will have a conversation, and then within days we're starting to see reality. And it's just because it's infectious. You know, you just talk to a few people and there's so much motivation to make cool stuff happen. And I'm really impressed by your drive, Adam, and your curiosity. It's just it's tenacious, man. You know, you'll see something and you'll just make it happen. And then I'm like, man, I wish I had this. And then Adam sends me like API access to this. It's like, yeah. So it's kind of cool.
Awesome. So you mentioned Catalyst a couple times. I don't think everybody here would know what that is. Could you guys give a description of what Catalyst is?
Okay, so Adam and I met in blocks, and that's how I got well off. I did it early enough when Cardano wasn't a lot of money, and I earned ADA, but some of that money goes into the treasury, and we've been stacking it for a long time, and ADA's gone up, and we have over $1 billion in the treasury. So every 3 months we vote on proposals, and anybody can go and submit proposals, and the proposals are money that come from the treasury. And so you can go and ask for money for whatever the hell you want. I mean, there's some guidelines and challenges that they try to steer it into, you know, like developer ecosystems or DApp challenges. But if you guys can build, create, educate, whatever, I mean, you don't have to be technical to do proposals, but go do it and get part of the program. Every week there's a town hall where people talk and get more involved, but there's responsibilities too, because there's people who are reviewing proposals, and not everybody's technical or capable of seeing it. And we need help there, and it's incentivized, but not really right now. We need to do a better job. But these are all the tasks that we have to do as a community, though. So Catalyst, it's not scaling very well, but we are giving out a ton of money. So there's opportunity to participate in the governance side of it. There's opportunity to participate in just being, you know, from a startup funding perspective. We're funding our startups with Catalyst. You know, we were a little reserved at first about kind of going and asking for money, but the quality of proposals isn't that great, to be honest with you. So there's opportunity for you to come in and be great. And that, you know, yeah, there's a little bit of accountability that we're holding, but it's not like anything like taking VC money. You know, I mean, it's a little bit of reporting, and, you know, you only get one reputation, and we roll like that. And that's how we roll. We're pretty strong in that regard. Come in and take the money and be a ding dong about it, you're going to get called out publicly. But other than that, it's there, and it's okay to fail. You know, if you come with good intentions, it's okay. So you can try some stuff. Come ask for $5,000, come ask for 10 grand, come bring game. You know, if you want to ask for 20 or 30, Adam and I are both putting in different proposals across different fronts. You know, if we do well, I think there's a potential we could get anywhere between us, I'd say between $100,000 and $300,000, $400,000 maybe this time around, to really build out some of the stuff that we're doing. And I think the fund size, it started at $250,000, and then the next fund was $500,000, and then it was $1 million, then 2, then 4. And I don't know what this one is. Is this one 6 or 8 but they just keep growing.
Yeah, I'm not sure, you know, but so essentially it's a decentralized, I guess, grant fund on Cardano, right, to build out the ecosystem. And it's a little centralized right now because we're still taking those training wheels off. But eventually the idea is that essentially it's a big, I don't know, I hate the the catchphrase of DAO, but something like a DAO to fund and the continuing development of Cardano. So right now, I think something like 20% of all the monetary expansion funds or the staking rewards go directly into Catalyst to help kind of make that a perpetual grant machine for Cardano to develop and build out its ecosystem. And like Kyle said, a lot of the proposals are super easy to submit. You get a review period. And the worst thing that can happen is people say no and don't give you the money. So, you know, if you've got a crazy idea and you think Cardano is the right spot, like, and it could really benefit both you and the blockchain ecosystem, by all means, go put in a proposal and see what happens, because it can be a great way to kickstart. You know, we've used both our stake pools and jet chickens and these other things to kickstart a lot of ours, but we both have also gotten Catalyst funding for like I did for my on-chain voting application, which just got a major thumbs up from a really big project that's going to be using it this morning. And then Kyle is really involved with a lot of, he had an Internet of Things company before even stake pools came around, and he's gotten funding to basically build that out on Cardano. And it's all just there, ready and waiting for you to have an idea and go and ask for it and make it happen.
Yeah, totally. And build a reputation. And even if you don't get it the first time, you know, start talking to people. And, you know, part of what I'm doing is helping other people get funding. You know, I went for some money. I'm not going to use it all myself. I want to pay some other people so they can start coming to Cardano full time. And I'm looking at it like that. But yeah, you guys can do, if you start now and you can get the community in the habit of maybe funding for your stuff and your projects and familiarity. And it really, I see this long term. I see the Treasury paying quite a few of us for a long time just to show up every day. And that's going to be something that we're going to see. We're going to see people say, hey, let's do a $250,000 challenge. We're going to create 10 jobs for the next quarter. People are going to pay 25,000. We're going to pay them 25,000 each for the quarter. They're just going to submit their resumes. Here's the job description, and we're just going to vote and hire people and things like that. So we're going to see a lot of that happening, I think. And what are those jobs for? That depends. You know, we're going to have a lot of it's self-governance. Catalyst is IOG's administering Catalyst right now, but there's a lot of community volunteers, and you can't volunteer this type of work. We have to pay people. We really do. The reviewers, we really have to pay experts. I mean, we've got community guys who some of them I'm sure are qualified to some degree, but we really need some serious qualifications for people who are reviewing serious, you know, very sophisticated technical proposals. So we have to fill all these gaps. And the problem is we can't rely on IOG to fill these gaps. So we need everybody. If you guys want to get involved, pay attention. Just if you got head on your shoulders, you'll figure out what's going on real quick. And, you know, we're all on a big ass ship and there's icebergs everywhere. So we need everybody's help to spot them and blow them up and all that shit. So that's what Cardano is, man.
All right. Well, thanks. So everyone can go Google Cardano Catalyst. I believe the website is on IdeaScale is the thing that hosts it. So you can look that up.
Yeah, the URL is cardano.ideascale.com. So that's the subdomain is cardano.ideascale.
I think you do have to log in to actually see the proposals and kind of review what the challenges are, but it's a pretty painless process.
So can you guys tell me a little bit about your how you're developing the games? You've got the fungible tokens, you've got the NFTs that are being used for the cards. Then how do people play, and how are you coming up with the rules of that?
Well, the cards dictate a lot of the rules, so we did that initially. And if you look at it, there's going to be it's a lot of math. So I printed out a lot of cards and I tried to do a playthrough, but there's just too many stats to really keep track of what's going on. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a chicken card in a game, and then you're going to be able to power up, and he's going to have base level of attributes that are rolled based on that. And then as things happen through the game, he's going to get weaker or whatnot. We've got the rules kind of down. I'm actually going to start banging code on it pretty soon. Adam's given me an interesting API where I can just look in a wallet. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is basically come up with a sophisticated chicken picker. You know, you got to pick your chicken, and I'll probably end up doing it on the Adoja domain, developing on the back end, and then just giving Adam the code so he can integrate it for something quick. But we're just gonna do something front end, and then he'll probably tie it into a more rounded out dev environment once I got a lot of traction. Then we'll probably work a little back and forth on it. But basically, the idea is I'm going to try to do a one player. I'm going to look at a multiplayer out the gate, but we'll probably roll with a single player progression. The chicken combinator is going to come. I'm going to try and have them come so they can come around the same time. The game, the combinator and the game, so people can combinate before the game. And then basically I'll circle back with Adam and be like, okay, Adam, we need these 4 in-game transaction types. And, you know, I just need you to call back this or whatever. So I'll do some development and he'll go and do his magic there and we'll tie it all together. And it'll be pretty cool. So the rules are, there's a lot of unspoken rules, but if you go through the cards, you can kind of figure them out. But from a high level, it's this idea of the chickens have oxygen tanks, and when all their health runs out, they're dead. You know, they lose their head or whatever, but the oxygen tanks determine how long they can stay alive without a head. And that depletes after a while, but then they can do whippets to keep that up. But the whippets make them dumber, but the dumb chickens are prone to attack your own team. So it's going to get a little weird. If I don't work the mechanics out, it's completely stupid. There's chicken choker cards with 25% chances of getting caught. I don't know what getting caught choking your chicken means yet in the game, right? There's a lot of shit we got to come up with. So like there's weaknesses like chicken. One of the weaknesses, my favorite weakness is drippy butt. What is drippy butt? I don't know. We got to find. So we got to put all these things in there. There's a lot of attributes that we don't really know what the gameplay effect are. So I've got to hone in. And what I'll probably end up doing, and, you know, Adam, I think agrees, is we're going to basically come up with something. And as soon as it's remotely fun, we're going to release it. And then what we'll do is we'll build onto it and we'll, as we keep going. So it'll be something that progresses. But I really like the idea of facilitating in-game transactions. So one of the things I was thinking of is like care packages and things like that you could maybe do once per game. You know, the whole idea is to incentivize users to conduct transactions. Maybe they play the game and at the end of the game, they get to choose what NFTs they want based on what they earned. And then they can do a transaction to mint those. You see what I'm saying? Something like that. But I want to create a playability crack effect. I don't want to just have a game where someone shows up and gets their ass whooped by the AI every time. You know, maybe a mode like that. We'll figure it out. But I do know the more sit downs we put into this, the more ridiculous it's going to get. So I'm extremely excited about the gameplay. But there's a lot of architecture that just needs to go in with the logistics. You know, when a chicken gets hit, what happens when there's going to be a lot of programming of the cards, like, you know, I might have to figure that out, the easiest way to do that. You know, maybe just come up with a spreadsheet that's a little bit more in depth, right, Adam? And then just kind of port that into a database or something and then run with that. It's just, you got to figure all that out. Like, you know, when you've got different cards applied, what happens, you know? And so there's a lot of hard coding business logic that we've got to get through.
Well, and probably one of the coolest things is, at least with the NFT space in general, is generally the idea is you try to build a community around your project. And we've already done a pretty good job of that, I think. So we're going to get to kind of like alpha stage of here's a semi-playable game and then give it to the community. And the community is going to tell us what works and what doesn't. And then we're going to iterate and build on that. And that's been one of the greatest things that I've seen, at least in the Cardano ecosystem, is the community. Like, you can absolutely just throw your very rough outline out there and you're going to get a ton of people giving you both positive and negative feedback. And as long as you're open and receptive to that, you're going to be able to iterate and develop a better end product. And the community is there. I think Kyle touched on it earlier, but like, everybody's just kind of hungry to see what that next step is. So when you give them even a half step of that next step, they start telling you exactly where they want you to go from there. And so it's really kind of dev guiding community, guiding dev in this kind of big circle of constantly pushing further and further.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be exciting. You know, I think what I'd like to do, Adam, is get a junior developer working for us that can start building a lot of this, because I want to do a single player mode. I want to do a multiplayer mode. I'm thinking the single player mode, we could even use some of these new chickens we have coming in as like bosses and things like that, you know, and just do some weird stuff. But I've got a lot of good ideas, and I know you do too. And so that's really the challenge for us, is just implementing, because we are working on, this isn't our full-time stuff. Like, we do jet chicken when we're tired, right? We're working on real serious stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, my mind is dumb. Let's chill. Let's play with some jet chickens. All right, what are we going to do now? And then that's kind of, you get the ideas for it. Execution's not hard at all. The game will be web browser based. It'll probably be shy on animation starting out. We'll make that done. We'll make it slick looking at least. And you know, those bells and whistles will probably touch in right before the initial alpha launch, something simple. But you know, it's the key that what we've been focusing on now are like key hook identifiers. Like, I want this thing to have a viral coefficient greater than 1. I want every user to want to tell somebody else about Jet Chicken, and not just tell somebody else. Go the extra mile, bro. You got to play this. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of push. And so that's not just something that I get excited about in a meeting and then I go home and forget about it. It's really important. And if we do that right, that may tell the difference between, you know, the legacy of what Jet Chicken is for the Cardano, you know, on Cardano. And so it's cool we still have that open policy, so we have an opportunity to do some pretty cool stuff while it's still open. And
I mean, that's actually why I like approached you guys about this, because I saw people on Twitter sharing the art of the cards and talking about the cards they got. And I was like, they were saying how they liked it. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I should, you know, talk to these guys. So yeah.
I was so surprised at how well it all turned out. I mean, we got a lot of dumb chickens back, and then we got some cool chickens back, and it was like, here we go. And then when the cards came together, it was like, okay, this is going to be really neat, you know. And I still will look at jet chickens on CNFT, and I have a whole tab open of ones I want to buy, you know, that I want to buy, because I kind of know what I'm looking for. But they're cool, man. And then I think about burning them, and it makes me sad, you know.
So let's open this up to everyone else. What questions do you guys have for Kyle and Adam?
Hey, I got a question from a university perspective. If we're paying students to do stuff, you know, to do work in the blockchain space, do you think that some of these DAOs or grant funds would be in alignment with that, or do you think that public institutions would have a harder time accessing some of that?
I think it's going to mature to, we're going to see a lot of institutions accessing funding. I think if the money is being spent in a way that's beneficial to the mission, then why not? You know, maybe you guys are running a class that's, you know, that's teaching people how to roll smart contracts on Plutus. Fuck yeah. Hell yes. I could see $1 million every 3 months going to something like that in a matter of 6 months. You know, we'll have $15 million funds. We have a smart contract developer gap right now, and that's a fact. And so yeah, I think it's possible. I think if it's the right program, you can get co-sponsors, guys in the community who have reputations to help you do that. That's the way I would do it. I would approach guys who are getting funding, who have good reputations and who have a history of securing proposals, and work with them in that regard to see if you could do that if you need them. But really, as long as you get a really good rating the way it works now, then you'll be presented in a favorable light. But I think it's not unreasonable to do that, but it has to match alignment. And And so, okay, well, what is the Cardano mission? What are we here for? Creating economic opportunity and identity, right? That's one of the core mission values that we're working towards. Education in general. I mean, shoot, you could say hot topics, where are people making money or whatnot, as long as it's really good value. I mean, hell, you guys could do a crypto onboarding class, right? Teach people how to onboard. We got a problem with that. That's always adapting those. So it couldn't be a hard set curriculum. It would need to be adaptive. But, you know, people could come in and they, you know, take a class, and all of a sudden now they know not just about blockchain, but about how to onboard it. I mean, because a lot of the things that I've seen come from universities, it's hard to teach something that's being innovated upon so quickly, I guess, is my perspective on that. And that's really what happens. You know, if you guys, by the time you get in a curriculum and want to present it, Adam and I have already changed the game. And that's what's happening. And it's not just Adam and I, we have a whole mob of us, you know, everybody, you know, we're decentralized. But yes, the answer is yes. If you find your set, yes, I totally perceive that. And I don't perceive the community giving you extreme backlash. You might get some very constructive and honest criticism, but I don't see a university coming in being something that we will look at negatively in any capacity. We would welcome that.
And Jake there helps run the Illinois Business Consulting. So for the College of Business, so we can definitely, I can hook him up with you guys after this about more stuff. And I know he has a lot of projects that he's working on that you guys might want to hear about too.
Yeah, there's
Totally.
definitely, you know, especially when it comes to like biz dev, a kind of a gap in the space, you know, that we had a lot of really good talks about during the summit with a lot of people about like, how can we fill some of those holes? Like, what's the best model to go about it? Because we do really need to start training a new generation that's blockchain forward, you know, no matter what that blockchain is, like that they understand what the hell the tech is, how it all works, and then how you do things like your taxes, how you do things like inheritance of these assets. So absolutely, even, you know, I would vote for a grant for a university to look into how to teach those things, right? Because I know that it's the writings on the wall, and we need to be educating the younger generation to know how to interact with these things. And that's what Catalyst is all about. So, I mean, it sounds really, really promising. I look forward to talking a little bit more after this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things with Catalyst strategically so far that we've seen yield success is coming in with proposals that aren't astronomically high. And instead of coming in with, like, for example, $100,000 proposal, I might come in with 5 $20,000 proposals. And you want to be able to hit piecemeal what may or may not work. So at some point, that's just something to consider. So at some point, yeah, the dollar amount's going to be there. We're going to have a whole lot of money in the treasury. The value of ADA is going to go up. We're going to keep putting money in the treasury for a very long time. It's a self-sustainable system. So at a steady state, I can see funding being there. But the community is going to want it to be valuable. And, you know, I say this to everybody, a lot of people are going to show up, but not everybody's going to be good. And so we need to watch out for that too, because those who are not good are going to take away from all of us who are doing good. So that's something that, you know, we're interested in as well. How can we maintain integrity and that type of stuff? But yeah, even just basic security, basic onboarding. This is not known. It's not widely known. How do you protect yourself? How do you be your own bank? And then you got your wallet. Now what? You know, people don't understand the implications of certain, you know, what are my attack vectors? Okay, how can I, you see, in that regard, you know, the bank, having a bank account, they cover a lot of those vectors for you. You know, coming into this world, that's one thing. You know, it's okay, you got a few $1,000s, but now what are you doing? It's a few million. If you're here this early, there's a good chance you'll get there, you know. And that's, you know, these are questions that I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be required, for the everyday user, if they're going to know how to protect that much money. But almost, I think this revolution is going to take 50 years. Maybe not. It might. Some are saying it'll happen this decade, fast. I don't know.
On a little bit of a different topic, how much trouble is Haskell development in causing you to find good programmers and coders?
That is probably the number one snag that we have right now, is finding good Haskell devs. Because I mean, I don't know how many of you are programmers, probably most of you, but if you're coming from like object-oriented programming, trying to look at Haskell is, for me at least, a nightmare. I've tried it and my brain just about melts every time I try to look at Haskell and understand what's going on and why it works the way it does. So it's definitely a very I guess niche skill set to be able to program reliably in Haskell and then convert that into Plutus and smart contracts. So that absolutely is a big gap that needs to be filled. And for any of you that are just learning to code or want to, if you go that route, I foresee that being a very lucrative job market in the near future.
Yeah, good Haskell devs are already in high demand. I know that. So
you've got all these dexes trying to fire up. Everybody wants smart contract this and smart contract everything, which just came out on Cardano, if you're not following, back in early September. So we're about a month in to actually having smart contracts executing on the chain. But right now we have a big gap in how many Haskell and Plutus developers we have, and all the front end tooling like wallet integration isn't quite there yet. So they haven't really taken off like we've seen in other chains like Ethereum and some of the others that do already have smart contracts. But it's coming. There's a ton of development for it. And then now we're going to add things like Atala Prism, which is a digital ID solution on Cardano, coming in the near future. That's only going to make that even more in demand. So absolutely, if you are capable of learning Haskell, I've tried. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, but if you're capable and know what you're doing, there's absolutely opportunity in here for you right now.
So how are you able to do without Haskell skill? How are you able to do?
Here's the deal. Because this is the beauty of it. Cardano native assets don't need smart contracts. We're not dependent on it. So March 1st, when the epoch changed, we got the ability to do native assets. So we could create native assets. We could send native assets. We could receive them. We do all kinds of funky things with native assets starting March 1st. Now, Alonzo smart contracts just hit a few weeks ago, right? So that's it's a whole new phase. So for example, if you want to develop right now without even messing with Haskell, what you guys could do is real high level. If you're not a developer, you're a designer, you could use Adam's Mercury WordPress plugin to accept data payments. Very simple, very easy way you can integrate your own business model to accept data. But if you're a developer, you can use Hydron, which is something that Adoja had developed. The lead developer of Token with Isan developed Hydron. And what it is it's a standalone node that you can take your application and you can post job requests to. It supports two methods right now. Two API calls, a track payment and callback, which you basically can set up a job with your application that says, look for this ADA payment to this payment address. And when you get it, it's a specific amount, right? So that's how it tracks with Dust. When you get it, kick this callback to this URL, webhook callback to my server. So now you can initiate ADA payments right into your application and kick a callback. There's another method that's track payment and drop asset, where it'll look for a specific payment and then drop a native asset so you can enable token withdrawals. And so we're going to expand on that functionality, but it's a standalone node. It's a Docker instance. It's got everything all self-contained, and you just spin it up and put it over here. You firewall it down so only your server can talk to it, and then your application server just post job requests to it. And it needs a little bit of work as far as cleaning up bad jobs and things like that, but you can get going right now with that. You don't have to deal with any of the code of dealing with your CLI transactions. That's all built into it. So all you do is your application just posts API requests, and then you can do some cleanup on your end.
And I think where that question ultimately was going, though, is that right now we're doing most of these transactions in a traditional centralized manner, right? So they're not in smart contracts on the chain yet, but human history has shown us that centralized finance isn't the boogeyman. Not everything needs to be a smart contract. Ask yourself, why do we need a blockchain for this? Why do we need a smart contract for this? And use the right tools for the right job.
That's right. Certain jobs require a trustless environment. You absolutely have to push them to smart contracts. If you're working with a company or a business and you trust who you're working with, you really don't need a smart contract in all cases.
It ultimately does come down to a level of decentralization where if one of you is running something on an Amazon server, another of you is running it on a home, like a home office hosted business line ISP server, then you have a layer of decentralization where people do have to trust that what you've set up is correct, but it's not just all under one centralized control. So.
Yeah, and that's like Kyle was saying, that's why we both, like for space coins, both hold the keys, right? So like he can do some funky stuff with it, I can do some funky stuff with it, but it grew out to be kind of bigger to where we needed decentralized control, and maybe in the future we both burn the keys publicly or something, to lock the circulating amount or whatever that case may be. But you're right that like you get to a point where if you have the tools to go decentralized, why not? But yeah, I mean, Amazon's centralized, right? Google is centralized. Like all these services that we use every day without thinking about it are centralized services. And does everything need to be decentralized is the ultimate question. I see and I hear a lot of that hype in the blockchain community in general. And I think it's kind of like the wrong kind of fundamentalism. Blockchain is just another tool in our arsenal. For the longest time, I was anti-blockchain because I was like, it's just a distributed database. Like, what's the benefit, right? Until I really started looking at the provenance issues, the digital identity issues, and having that immutability and trustless by trusting in the sanctity of the cryptography in the blockchain. But at that same token, like, do I think adding shiny JPEGs onto the blockchain is the best use case for it? Absolutely not. But I'm here for it because people will buy them, at the end of the day. So, and again, it gives me a way to experiment and grow that. I want voting. I want to get into that kind of things, decentralized governance and things like that. And these shiny images right now are just a good way for me to learn what's possible and then push that a step further.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We've gotten to 1 p.m. So I'm going to go ahead and end our meeting now. I'll stop the recording. So again, Kyle Solomon, we can find you. What's the best place to find you online?
Telegram, Doja Wolf is my handle, is the quickest way to get a hold of me. Online, I operate as a little green frog on Twitter, at a frog pool.
Is it space for one more question? I had just one more question, if that's not an issue.
Oh, and there's one more question. Is Jet Chickens open source?
Fuck no.
All right.
Hell no.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
things
know
like
what-
the
what's
rules
open
and
source.
stuff will probably be open
if you
source
want-
eventually.
Well, no, I don't think. I mean, we could possibly open source the chicken generator at some point. I don't see why we wouldn't do that. That's simple. It's not complicated, but no, there's nothing really open source about it.
All right. And
Adam,
Adam,
I asked a question.
Oh yeah, was
Go
that a
ahead,
different
yeah.
question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because that wasn't my question.
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. So my question was, did you guys face any legal issues regarding working on like Cardano chain and like developing applications? I'm just asking because this is a very new space, and like as Kyle mentioned, like if you have a wallet and you have like a couple of $100 or maybe $1,000, it doesn't matter. But as you start generating more and more cash, or like you start selling services or like tokens to other peoples in the United States, and then if you start generating
when you start selling tokens, you said the magic words. You need to watch your ass. Okay. And you got to do it the right way. Yes, I have experience here. I conducted an ICO on US soil in 2018. I've sat across the table with regulators with an active investigation into myself and my company. So it's okay. They were cool and they realized I was doing some really cool shit because I was. and I was trying to push the envelope. But if you're not there, then you can get in real big trouble real fast. And so if you're a US citizen, you can get in a hell of a lot of trouble. And if you're not a US citizen, they can still get you if you sell to US citizens. So A, you're going to want an attorney. B, you're going to want to have utility before you even think about selling tokens. And by utility, I mean good consumption, good utility, the product built. We could possibly get away with selling space coins at some point in the future, because our white paper is nothing. It's a silly paper. We're not promising anything in return, right? But when you're selling tokens, or most people are, what happens is there's this understanding that I'm going to go build something with this money, and that's a security. And so if you already have a product built and people are using it, like token.io, for example, has a product, and if they were to enable a discount with tokens on their product, they could potentially sell tokens to their users for use on their platform. There's a closed loop that's possible there. I would even want stronger utility than that personally, just because if somebody wants to make a target, they can. EOS raised $4 billion and settled for 30 million. That was a steal. They're not going to give everybody that same deal. So there's a strategy. It's not just, what do you need to sell the tokens for? What do you need? Do you need the revenue to build? There's options. Okay. You run a stake pool, get staked. That's how Adam and I do it now. It's worked out really well for me personally. It was hard to do, but maybe that opportunity is gone. I don't know. I showed up early. Catalyst, get funding that way. You can get it in that regard. If you're building yourself, build, man. It's not hard to put something together to figure out how to take a transaction. And once you're taking a transaction, you got revenue because you can shave a little bit, right? But how we made space coins work is we gave them away.
Okay.
We gave them away for free, but we didn't give them all away. Okay. And so dexes are going to come, and people are going to create pairs with those, and then markets are going to come. And then Adam and I are going to sit here with the space coins we didn't give away and let that happen. And it's a different game. So is that what you say, hey, I want a token project and I want to have a bunch of tokens when they're worth something? What game are you playing? Because this is game theory, and that's what we are doing. So there's ways to do that. But if you go out and you sell tokens, you're going to get knocked out out the gate.
So I guess NFTs are a part of it. If I create an NFT project and I sell it to the audience, I'm going to be in the same trouble.
The key there is the promise of future value, right? Like, so if I'm selling this poster behind me as an NFT, I'm selling you a digital good. It's the same as licensing an image on Adobe stock or something, right? You get the rights to own this image, and that it's yours, and you have provenance. I gave you a good or service in exchange for payment. So there's no security there. Whatever the secondary market does, you as the creator don't care. You're hands off. I'm just selling you an asset.
You're not promising future work or anything like that. Now, don't get me wrong. The SEC could do some weird shit and try and crack down on it and make examples of somebody. But my recommendation is be good, but don't be the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, so there are a lot. You'll see a lot of projects that definitely walk that fine line, and maybe they're in jurisdictions that aren't governed by the SEC. But if you're in the US, you definitely be really careful about promising any future utility or value to your token, whether it's an NFT or a fungible token, unless for one, you can actually deliver that, and two, try to avoid it, that keyword is you're selling a collectible when you're talking about NFTs right now. You're selling a collectible item that if a collectible appreciates, like a Tickle Me Elmo, like that, they don't, Mattel or Hasbro, whoever made that, wasn't making a security. They just made something that a lot of people wanted that had value in the future. So that's that distinction between a security and a collectible.
Yeah, there's expectation of increasing value based on future work that hasn't been done yet. So that's one part of it. And then
and for the record and for the recording, not financial or legal advice. Go consult your attorney and or
your accountants and all
doing any of this.
Yeah, Adam and I are not experts. We can't read. Here's an example. in every pack of Jet Chicken, there are 100 free space coins.
Mhm.
There you
Yeah,
go.
free.
Go buy yourself a pack of Jet Chickens and
Right.
you know,
But
you
yeah,
get 100 free space coins.
Yeah.
That's legal. That's legal.
Yeah, because it's free.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see. Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, but we absolutely consulted with the legal team before we did that. Like we got
Adam's
their
light
opinion
bulb
on it.
just went off.
Like-
He's like, these motherfuckers are selling space coins.
Right. Yeah, we consulted legal, and that was the opinion was if they're given away for free, you know, and they're getting something else in exchange for that value, you're not selling the token, right? And you can do things like that. You can get creative because that's kind of how our legal system works. But just definitely, if you got a crazy idea, pay that lawyer his consulting fee because hopefully it'll save your bacon in the long run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
you gotta be real careful with selling tokens, guys.
Mhm.
It's serious stuff. That the SEC is a little bit more lenient in regards to not everything is they're going after, right? And I don't think I've seen them come after an NFT project yet. Have you? They-
Yeah, yet is the functional part of that sentence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, if you're selling like a membership to the club, right? Like, you know, all of these things have utility and separate, and the token on the chain is just your provenance of ownership is all it really is. But if you're essentially making shares of your company and promising future rev share or things like that, then so yeah, just kind of develop your roadmap or your game plan and then talk to the attorneys is the best advice I could give and see what they have to say about it.
Awesome. That's the answer I was looking for. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. And
Thank you. That was good. I appreciate you guys.
Adam Dean, where should we find you online?
So on Twitter, it's Adam K. Dean, or on Telegram, it's at the real Adam Dean, not to be confused with the impersonators. So.
All right. Well, guys, it's been great. We really appreciate you coming and speaking to us.
Sure.
And we will have another meeting here in a month. And if hope to see everyone back then. So everyone take care.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it, guys. We hang out Thursday nights at 8 p.m. We do Cardano Space Place, where we just get on and get a little tipsy at 8 p.m. Eastern usually. So you guys are more welcome to watch YouTube, or even if you guys want to jump on YouTube and talk, you know, a lot of OGs will get on and we'll just shoot the shit. So
We're on YouTube.
The Adafrog Pool channel.
All right.
All right.